A gentle introduction to South Indian classical Carnatic music, part 1 of 4 by Ramesh Mahadevan. Acknowledgements. I owe a tremendous amount of gratitude to my music teachers, Professor T.R. Subramaniam and Professor Prabhakara Verma, and to friends like Surya Prabha, Srikant Chari, and Professor R. Pichamani, University of Connecticut, for teaching me the fundamentals. A big thanks to Ilaiyaraaja, no I don't know him personally, for many wonderful Carnatic music based film songs which presented an entirely different angle to Carnatic music. Finally, I owe it all to my friend K.S. Balaji for introducing me to Carnatic music. I am also fortunate to be with friends with several folks who are very knowledgeable about music. I learnt a lot from them, and many of them have been active on the music boards, B-boards, one time or the other. A short list of these people are Professor S. Mahadevan and Monica, Vanderbilt University, Professor Venkata Subramaniam and Vyuju, Purdue, Mukund Srinivasan, Chandramouli, AT&T, Professor V. Krishnan, University of Texas, Srinivasan Gopalaswamy, Carnegie Mellon, Srinivasan Pichamani, and Kannikeshwaran. And it's always a pleasure to acknowledge how much I benefited from Rajan Parerkar and his immense knowledge of almost every aspect of Indian music. Read by Shivkumar Kalyan Raman. What is the focus of this primer? Many of us have grown up in India where we were exposed to Indian classical music in one form or another. However, if you are not from a musically inclined family, the odds that you perceived classical music to be something esoteric that only a selected few could understand and appreciate, an occasional devotional song or a classically tuned film song would have made you stop and take note. Your curiosity could have been aroused, but you may have quickly ignored. Your curiosity may have been aroused, but you may have quickly ignored the instinct and made a beeline for the usual pursuits in life. Even if you were interested enough to find out about classical music, you did not know what books to read or whom to talk to. Even if you managed to talk to someone, it is likely that the person made you feel inadequate about your lack of musical abilities or proceeded to give you a long lecture about music with a million buzzwords that confused you and weaned you off your curiosity. It is unfortunate that there is a total lack of simple, readable introductory text on Indian classical music, especially when compared to volumes and volumes of elementary books available on Western classical music. No wonder an average college-educated person in the United States is at least mildly knowledgeable about Western classical music, whereas an average Indian, by and large, ignorant about the technicalities of Indian classical music. This primer is a feeble attempt to introduce Carnatic music in a gentle way in a language we presumably all can understand. I want to be able to rekindle your interest and help you discover some of the quote method unquote and grammar of Carnatic music. Even though these notes are aimed at introducing Carnatic music, a lot of what I have to say will also apply to Hindustani classical music. This primer is obviously not meant for experts. I have intentionally kept this text simple. The idea is to introduce the richness of Carnatic music and not to write an encyclopedia. Some of what I will be saying may not be entirely accurate, but the simplicity is more important than the dictionary definition of terms. This primer is only intended to get you started, and once you are on your own, there are many texts you can refer to for all kinds of information. These notes are also not meant to be complete, because I will be using only a minimum of technical terms. I won't even attempt to discuss the Vadi, Vivadi, Samvadi kind of technicalities and lose my readers. So, let's get started. Sound and music. Music is an extremely subjective oral experience. Some sounds are perceived by us as pleasant and some as unpleasant. What is considered pleasant or unpleasant can be quite personal, based upon our specific culture, exposure to particular kinds of music, and perhaps even what our parents told us. A song could be a major hit in one country and could be completely disliked and ignored in some other country. Our musical tastes are indeed developed. As we grow up and discover music from other cultures or newer musical styles, our tastes too change. Sometimes we even discover a pleasant piece of music purely by accident because it simply happened to resonate with our inner sensibilities. Oh, nothing like self-discovery. So how do we make sense of sound and music? Let us try to answer this by examining some simple concepts first. Our high school physics tells us that sound has several features such as pitch, intensity, quality, and duration. The pitch is just the frequency of the sound vibration given in hertz or cycles. The musical term for frequency is tone. The audible frequency range extends from 25 Hz to around 8 or 10,000 Hz, although it depends entirely on the individual. Children can hear much higher frequencies. At the low end of the range, even if we may not hear ultra low frequencies, we may feel the vibration as a tactile sensation. The intensity is the same as loudness, and it is related to the amplitude of the sound wave. One should learn not to confuse the intensity with the frequency. For example, try to recite the nursery rhyme "Ba ba black sheep, have you any wool?" Okay, we will first stop now and actually recite it. This is an illustration of the Baba black sheep and how it is discrete. When you come to the syllable black in the phrase black sheep, you are hitting a higher tone compared to Baba. Dun, 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 Baba black sheep. It goes, this is the effect of frequency. You can feel it going higher. Now you can either whisper this nursery rhyme or shout your guts out. In either case, you are simply changing the what we call the intensity. The other attribute of sound, duration, is self-explanatory. How long you hold a note. It is simply the time during which the specific frequency or tone lasts. The term quality is more difficult to understand. It is simply a signature of the source of sound. It is a term which explains why a violin sounds like a violin and a drum sounds like a drum. The two sounds are different, and that is called quality. This attribute is precisely the reason you can make out your mother's voice over the phone, even if she has a horrible cold. The bottom line is, when you or an instrument produce sound, you not only produce one frequency, but also produce a spectrum consisting of several overtones. This is variously referred to as timbre or tone color. This constitutes the quality of that sound. Just to explain this concept some more, let's say you try to produce a single frequency with your voice. One way to produce a single frequency is to get a keyboard and keep pressing one of its keys and you hum along till you resonate. If you actually analyze the waveform you produced, you will see not only a significant amount of the frequency you are trying to produce, but also small amounts of other frequencies, which are the overtones. The exact composition of overtones you produced is in some sense the signature of your voice and constitutes its quality. This should also set you thinking. Just how in the world do you perceive sounds? How do you identify your friend's voice? Clearly you're not decomposing it into frequency components like what the electrical engineers call Fourier analysis. How do you sometimes make out which song it is simply by listening to a few notes? How is it that you can mentally visualize someone's voice, laughter, sounds, some past conversations, songs, etc.? Basically, when you hear sounds and music, you're simply doing a pattern recognition against what you already know. Over the years, your brain has stored